Hey, what's going on, y'all? Hope everyone's having a fabulous day. If you haven't gotten a chance to subscribe to the channel, please do so. Ring that notification bell. Whenever I drop a video, you'll be notified. In this video, what I want to talk to you guys about is the steps on building credit after a bankruptcy. Most of you guys know in 2017, I filed a bankruptcy. There are certain steps that you need to take after you come, especially after you come after a Chapter 7. The very first step that you want to understand is getting started is key. You're going to mull over what's the best route to take when building credit. Understanding that taking your first step in after a bankruptcy is the most important key. You're going to feel a little down on yourself. It's going to be a mixed emotion feeling that you're going to have coming after a bankruptcy. And in this video, what I want to talk to you guys about is once you make that critical decision to take the initial step to build credit right after bankruptcy, it's all downhill from there. It's not a really hard process. The very first thing that you have to understand when you're building your credit, there is two different types of credit that you're going to need to concentrate on. One is a revolving line of credit. A revolving line of credit is anything that the payment is going to fluctuate, and once you pay the balance down to zero, you're going to be able to use that credit again. So anything like lines of credit, credit cards, those are typical revolving lines of credit. So if you go to, like, let's say a Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and even a lot of, like, if you go to a Target or Walmart, those are all revolving lines of credit. And then you have a different type of credit where it's an installment loan. An installment loan is a loan that the payment is fixed. Once you're done paying off that payment, you and that financial institution is divorced. And these are loans like personal loans, a mortgage, an auto loan. These are all types of installment loans. Those are the two different types of loans or trade lines that you need to really focus on when you're building your credit. Now, when you're coming out of a bankruptcy, your credit score is probably at its lowest point. And what you want to do is you want to focus on revolving lines of credit the most. The more revolving lines of credit that you could put on your credit report, the better. Okay, and a lot of the links that I'm talking about, or a lot of the companies that I'm talking about, is going to be linked in the description. So if you guys are wondering, if I mention an account that you're not really sure of, you can go in the description. Some of them may be affiliate links, so the company may pay me a small commission, but you really want to focus on these items. If you're not in a bankruptcy, let's say you haven't filed a bankruptcy, but you're just now getting started building credit, you want to take these same steps. Okay, these steps are probably going to work a lot better for you than it is for somebody that's coming out of a bankruptcy, but they're going to work generally for everybody. So the very first step that you want to do, if your credit is thrashed, you're going to want to get at least 4 revolving lines of credit, and I'm going to walk you through how you can go about doing this. If you're coming out of a bankruptcy, one of the best companies that you can get started with is the State Department Federal Credit Union Secure Credit Card. Okay, now a secure credit card is any line of credit that you put down a deposit, let's say $200, and for the return of you putting down $200, they're going to use that $200 as collateral and offer you a line of credit in usually 1 to 1.5 times whatever you put down. Most of them is 1 times whatever you put down. So if you put down $200, they're going to take that $200, put it in some type of safe holding deposit, and they're going to offer you a credit line using that credit that $200 deposit as collateral. So you're going to have a line of credit for $200, but it's secured. And what it does is it allows them to give you credit to start out without having to worry about are they going to get their money back? They're just using your collateral. So if you don't pay, they're going to take that $200 and keep it. If you close that $200, like if you close that credit account, they're going to give you your $200 back as long as it's in good standing. So it's a deposit, right? And that's a secure credit card. Now, the secure credit cards that I like are credit cards that graduate, secure credit cards that graduate. And what that means is after a period of time, they're going to give you your money back. The one of my favorite secure credit cards to get started with is the State Department Federal Credit Union. They're going to report to all three credit bureaus, TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax. Now, here's the secret. You're going to have to join a membership in order to belong to this bank, right? It's going to be, I can't remember the name of it, but the link is going to be in the description to join this nonprofit organization. It's like $15 for a lifetime. And once you join, you're a lifetime member, but you're going to have access to this credit union. This secure credit card is probably going to be the cheapest credit card, or as far as interest rates. It's going to be the cheapest interest rate that you're going to get when you're first starting out. That's why I like the State Department Federal Credit Union. Now, you're going to have to join the institution first and then apply for a secure credit card. Now, one thing that people always ask me is, should I get a checking or a savings? You're just trying to open the account so that you can get approved for the secure credit card. So please don't reach out to me asking me that question anymore. It doesn't matter if it's a checking or savings, whichever one you get approved for, great. That's what you want to do. So that's your very first secure credit card. That's a revolving line of credit. The very next step that you want to do is you want to get another secure credit card. I'm going to give you a couple of options. Now, we have our own credit builder secure credit card where you can go through us and you can get a secure credit card through us. There is no credit check with ours. The State Department Federal Credit Union, they may pull a credit check, they may pull it, but it may be a soft pull. If you belong to the bank, it may be a soft pull. I'm pretty sure if you just call them up and say, I want a State Department Federal Credit Union secure credit card, they're going to do a hard pull on you. So it's best to become a member first. The next card, which I was telling you about, the CreditLiving secure credit card, we teamed up with a company called Credit Builder, where they allow me to promote their products. And they have a secure credit card where you can join their secure credit card. It's a pretty much guaranteed approval to get this secure credit card. So what you want to do is, if you're looking for another secure credit card to get, this is a great secure credit card to start with. I believe it's a $29 annual fee at a 19.99% APY. So just understand, it's a higher interest credit card that you're getting, but you're going to have that option. If you don't want to use our credit card, you can go with a company like Opensky. Opensky it's basically a mirror image of an Opensky secure credit card. And what you want to do is you want to get two of these secure credit cards, at least two secure credit cards. And when you get these two secure credit cards, you have your two revolving lines of credit. And I show people this all the time, right? And it's tried and true. It works. Now, the third company that you want to go out and get is called a MyJewelers, right? Now, MyJewelers is a company that they have several different products. It's kind of like a store credit card, like a Target or a Walmart. You can't take a Walmart credit card and go into Target to use. With the MyJewelers credit card, you can only use that credit card with MyJewelers. Some people are going to make an argument, well, it's not a credit card, it's a charge card. Listen, however you want to call it, the way that I'm going to term it is a revolving line of credit. So you go out and you get your MyJewelers credit card. Now, MyJewelers, once you go to this website, you're going to see that they offer a lot of products. They offer you products like um, watches, earrings, all types of different jewelry. What you want to do is you want to sign up. Now, the membership for this company is $99. That's just to be a member with MyJewelers. And then you have to order something. I believe it's at least $120 for it to report to all three credit bureaus. So you want to make sure that you get something that reports to all three credit bureaus. And what they're going to report is a revolving line of credit for $5,000. So you have your two secure credit cards. Now you have your third account, which is MyJewelers, which is a revolving line of credit. The fourth account that I recommend to people is New Coast Direct. Now, New Coast Direct is just like MyJewelers, where it is a charge card for a particular company, just like Target, Walmart, or what have you. And you want to use this account to build your credit. Once you have these four revolving lines of credit, what you need to focus on is an installment loan. If you weren't able to keep your vehicle through your bankruptcy, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of times you're able to keep like your personal vehicle through a Chapter 7 bankruptcy if there's not a lot of equity in that vehicle. So you're going to be able to keep your transportation when you're going through a bankruptcy. But I'm not an attorney. You want to consult your attorney when trying to do something like this. If you weren't able to keep your auto loan or mortgage or what have you, a personal loan, what you want to do is go to a company like Self. It used to be called SelfLender. They changed their name and they kind of changed their products. And you want to get a SelfLender account or a Self account. Now that's what they're calling themselves. When you get this account, what happens is now you have an account that is an installment loan. They're going to give you a loan, but they're going to put this loan in a CD. Let's say you go out and you get a loan with them. They're going to put whatever that amount. Now, you look at the payments that you can afford, and that's what loan you're going to pick. If you can only afford a payment of $98, great. That's what it is. If you can only afford a payment of $25, great. That's what it is. Don't worry about the amount. Worry about what you can afford, that you know going into it you're going to be able to do this for the long term, at least a year. The smaller amount, the smallest one I believe is $25 per month. I believe that's a 2-year loan. So you want to look at it and you want to be able to make payments on this loan for a complete year. Don't pay it off early. Don't, worry, oh, I'm going to get it for a month and then I'm going to pay it off to show that I paid off a loan. That's not going to help your credit score. What's going to help your credit score is paying on your loan over time. And so when you get your SelfLender loan, you have 4 revolving lines of credit and you have 1 installment loan on your credit report. Now what you want to do is you want to let that season. You want to let that sit on your credit report for at least 6 months. You have all your revolving lines of credit. Now I know you're asking, should I spread these accounts over time? No. As soon as you file your bankruptcy and you receive your discharge, that's when you want to go out and you want to start getting these accounts put on your credit report. Don't worry about, should I apply for discharge while I'm waiting for my discharge? No, wait until you get your discharge. A lot of these companies will not mess with you if you're going through a bankruptcy. Once you receive your discharge, chances are all the companies that I mentioned, they will give you a line of credit. Now, what you're trying to do is, once you wait 6 months, the very first card that I would apply for is an unsecured Capital One Quicksilver credit card. It's a real easy credit card to get approved for, but with right around 6 months, you should be really close to the 600s. You should be really close to the 600s, and that's going to get you an approval for the Quicksilver card. Now, if you go and you get this unsecured credit card, the Quicksilver Capital One credit card, you're in the game. But what happens with a lot of people is they feel like, okay, I'm going to go get 4 or 5 secure credit cards. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I just got off the phone with a gentleman that had 5 secure credit cards. And I was wondering to myself, why did you get 5 secure credit cards? And the reason why is because he knew he needed credit, so he went out and he got 5 secure credit cards. And if you just follow the steps that I'm trying to give to you, you're not gonna have to spend, $1,000 in secure credit cards just to start building your credit. What you want to do is you want to do this in the most efficient manner. And I believe that the system that I designed, that I'm telling you, is the most efficient system when building credit that's out there, that you're going to find anywhere on YouTube. And so when you're building your credit, don't worry about, oh, I got to delete items off my credit report because I got a bankruptcy on my credit report. You are still going to be able to build credit even after a Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Okay? I did it. I went through a Chapter 7 by, I want to say, 90 days. I was 620 to 650 within 90 days of doing all this. Now, what I did do is I went out and I got all these accounts all at once. As soon as I got my discharge, I went out and I got all these accounts. I was very fortunate. If it's gonna cost you some money, just like the MyJewelers, the new Coast Direct is gonna cost you about $100 to get started, and then you're gonna have to finance a piece of jewelry, which I ended up getting this watch from MyJewelers. Still wear it, still tells good time. I believe the watch was like $150, and you have to put 50% down on the product, and then you're going to finance the other half. They're going to finance the other half. So chances are it's going to show payment experiences on your credit report. And that's what's going to build your credit, going forward. Not going out getting 5 secure credit cards. Payment experiences, showing payment experiences is going to help you build credit. Now, there's one key in all of this. When you're going out getting your secure credit cards, I know most people are going to tell you that you can spend 30% on your secure credit cards. You want to spend no more than 10% on your secure credit card. So if you have a $200 secure credit card, you're not going to spend over $20. Now, most people say you can spend 30%. That would be $60. Don't spend $60 on your credit card. Stay under 10%. Don't listen to all these people telling you, oh, you can go up to 30%. You don't want to put yourself in a position to where you're losing points for no reason. You're going to take a hit when you first apply for credit. When you first apply for credit, you're going to take an initial hit. But over time, you're going to recoup all those points that you lost. And it's not going to take that long for you to recoup these points that you initially lost. And over time, you're going to start seeing jumps in your credit report. There's 5 factors that make up your credit report. The very first thing is payment history. Your payment history is the largest percentage of your FICO score. It's like 35% of your FICO score's payment history. And that's just a fact of how well you pay over time on your credit reports. The second one is utilization rate, your debt to income. When people think utilization, they think it's only the fact of utilization rates. And it's not just utilization rates. In each one of these categories, they look at several different things. Kind of like in payment, when I told you 35% is payment history, they're also looking at, well, what type of payment are you making payments on? Is it credit cards? Is it installment loans? And so it's not just payment history. There's several different factors in each one of these categories. So payment history is 35% of your FICO score. Utilization is 30% of your FICO score. Now, like I said, it's not just utilization, it's debt to income. A lot of times when you go to companies and you're getting underwritten, the debt to income falls into 30% of your FICO score. It's a huge factor just between these two, payment history and utilization rate. So when you're talking about revolving lines of credit, that's about 60% of your FICO score right there. Is payment history, how well you handle your credit, paying your credit over time, and keeping a low balance on your credit score. So you don't want to use 30% of your credit score, because it's going to really affect you negatively. And then you have length of credit. Over time, as you do this system that I'm telling you, length of credit is 15% of your FICO score. It's going to take you a while, like 18 to 24 months, to get to the 700s. Most of you guys are thinking, well, how long is this going to take? How long is this going to take? It's going to take you about 18 to 24 months to get to the 700s coming out of a bankruptcy if you just follow these steps. You have your 4 revolving lines of credit, you have your installment loan, you're making your payments on time, you're keeping a very low balance, and you're doing it over time, which is length of credit, which is about 15% of your FICO score. The mix of credit, the different types of credit, remember I told you there's revolving lines of credit, installment loans, that's about 10% of your FICO score. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a good mix of credit. What they're trying to see is, do you have experience of handling different types of credit? And how much credit do you have on your credit report? So your mix of credit is really key when you're trying to build your credit in an efficient manner. So don't just go out and get 5 secured credit cards and no installment loans. Yes, you want to get 5 trade lines on your credit report, but you want to make sure that you're using all of the categories when you're doing this process. So mix of credit is 10%, the other 10% is new credit. So when you first go out and you apply for these trade lines, understand your credit, it's going to take an initial hit, and that's the 10%. When you hear people talk about, oh, I went and got this credit card, my score went down, this is why. It's between the 10%, the new credit, and also the length of credit, because now it's the average. You're taking away from the average of your credit score. So that's going to lower the length of credit because they're averaging out your credit card. So if you get a new credit card today, your credit score is going to drop because not only do you have a new item put on your credit report, but also you're lowering the length of credit. So those of you that have a very short amount of time on your credit cards, you want to go and apply for everything all at once. If you have a very low length of credit, I believe my average length of credit right now, it includes closed accounts, it's like 17 years. 17 years is my average length of credit with my closed accounts included. So you want to make sure that you keep these accounts over time. A lot of times you guys will start applying for credit cards that you're not going to keep in the long run. That's why you're not going to want to go out there and get 5, 6 secure credit cards, is because chances are you're going to get to a point where you're getting these desirable credit cards like the Capital Ones, the Discover It's, you're going to get a Chase, you're going to get an American Express, and you're not going to look at your First Progress card in the same light. Trust me, you're going to be like, man, I want to close this account, but it's going to lower my length of credit. And so you're going to have to make a decision at some point. Do you keep this credit card? And that's why you want to keep your secure credit cards to a minimum. You're not going to go out there and apply for a whole bunch of secure credit cards. Now, when people talk about credit repair, one thing that they always talk about is deleting items off their credit report. And I want you to understand that building credit is the largest factor when dealing with your credit report. When you're looking at the FICO score, it's looking at its most recent 24 months. The most recent 24 months is the key that you want to focus on. So if you're looking at the most recent 24 months, you don't have any new derogatories, chances over time, the less impact your collections or charge-offs or whatever, the derogatories that you have on your credit report is going to have on your credit report. So how do you counterbalance those derogatories? Is by going out and establishing good positive credit, especially revolving lines of credit. And as long as you do this, it's going to counterbalance the negative. And at some point, The less impact that derogatory is going to have on your credit report, the more impact, because you're still using your positive credit, the more impact your new positive credit is going to have on your credit score. Eventually, regardless that you have those derogatories, even if you don't take anything off your credit report, it's going to make your credit score look a lot better. You're going to have a lot better credit score. And understanding that this is the foundation of building credit, it's tried and true. I don't care where you're at in your credit game. As long as you stick to the blueprint and you go out and do these things that I'm telling you, you will be successful. When you're talking about building credit or having a decent FICO score, you will have a decent FICO score. If you want to deviate from this plan, you want to go out and get the Blue River credit cards, you want to go out and get a Target credit card, you want to go out and do all these things, or let's say you get to the point where you get a 620 and you start applying for a whole bunch of credit cards because now it feels good for you to have a decent credit score, and so now you getting credit card offers and they're sending you credit cards and you're like, well, I'm gonna apply for everything. And you go out here and you be a credit hoe and you just start applying for all, okay, I'm gonna apply for this credit card, I'm gonna apply for that. Chances are you're shooting yourself in the foot, because not only are you getting approved for credit cards that eventually one day you're gonna want to close and it's gonna mess up your credit score, you're messing up your credit score because at some point when you get to the point where you're really trying to apply for credit cards, you get to that 700, you got a 720 FICO score now. When you apply for those cards that you really want, like the Chase and American Express, they're going to deny you because you got too many recent inquiries on your credit report. Or maybe you get a decline because you have too many new credit cards. And that's something that most people don't really take into consideration. When you get to the 620 range, don't go crazy. You still want to be responsible. You went through a situation through your bankruptcy. It's not your fault. Everybody goes through this situation some point in their time where they become financially irresponsible, and it's because you were never really taught how to deal with personal finances. So you got yourself in a situation, and now you're trying to figure out a way, how do I get out of the situation that I'm in, that I got myself in? And it's okay. You're not a bad person. There's nothing wrong with you. It was a situation. Maybe you're a trucker and you took a chance on getting your own truck. Situation happened and you had to file bankruptcy. That does not mean you're a bad person. And people put this negative stigma on us that filed a bankruptcy, but that's okay. Let them judge you for who you are, but just know that you can recover from this situation. And 2 to 3 years, you're going to look back at your bankruptcy and go, you know what? I got through it. I followed Kenny's steps. He showed me exactly what to do. Now I'm in the 700s and I can start all over. That's what the bankruptcy was supposed to be used for. The only thing they don't do is teach you how to build credit. Now, if you guys just landed on this channel and this is the first time that you watch anything on my channel, if you go and you subscribe and you comb through my videos, you'll see I make a lot of videos on how to build credit. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the notification bell, and when I drop a video you like, give me a thumbs up. And if you see a video that I don't like, that you don't like, give me a thumbs down, because that kind of lets me know if I get too many thumbs down on a video, you're not liking that type of content, and I'll stop making that type of content. So please, by all means, go through the video, learn how to build credit the right way. Don't listen to a lot of the negative, conversation on YouTube about people that filed bankruptcy. Understand there's recovery at the end of the road. You guys have a blessed day. Just wanted to drop this video. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.